Meanwhile, Checkpoint can tonight confirm that Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern will appear on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert when she's in New York for the United Nations General Assembly later this month. No stranger to US television audiences, New Zealand politicians have provided plenty of comedic material for a country our size, not least among them John Oliver's dishonourable mention of Stephen Joyce's infamous Waitangi Day sex toy incident. The Prime Minister's office, when approached for comment today, would say only that Ms Ardern's itinerary would be finalised publicly on Thursday and would include American media appearances. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert boasts an audience of 3.5 million people. Exposure former Prime Minister Sir John Key says enhances our reputation in America. Mr Key recalls fondly his time on The Late Show with David Letterman when he was in New York to attend the UN Assembly almost a decade ago.
Late-night comedians are an institution in the United States. They have a massive following, and whether it's David Letterman or Jay Leno or these days Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, there's a whole bunch of them, but they have a massive following and they're quite influential. And I guess in recent times with Donald Trump, they've had a huge amount of material to work with. So there's certainly a massive audience that listens to them, and it's a way to, I guess, unwind at the end of the evening. So from my perspective, I mean, the thing I remember, I did the top 10 on David Letterman, and some of it was obviously pretty tongue-in-cheek, but he was good-humoured, and he actually was desperate to come to New Zealand, so it was great promotion, but he's terrified of flying, so he was next in on taking the flight.
And in your planning with these trips, how important is it to line these sorts of things up? Did you actively seek out that kind of appearance?
I think I wasn't really involved until at the end they said to me, as part of the New York trip that I made, that there were a number of things we were doing, and this was one of the opportunities that had come along. I think, actually, I wasn't aware of this at the time, but Tourism New Zealand had some discussions with people, and the opportunity had sort of presented itself. I think we're a little country. We're 5 million people, last bus stop on the planet. Getting the attention of people who maybe don't even know where New Zealand is, and this sort of broad audience is a great thing for New Zealand. And I think it's kind of a fun thing. And Kiwis are always seen as as I think down to earth sort of people we can have a bit of a laugh with. So in the United States, I think it enhances our reputation.
We seem to, for our size, we seem to get more attention perhaps than what we deserve. I can remember John Oliver, the late night host, mocking Stephen Joyce as well as other people in both your government and Bill English's. Do you think Jacinda Ardern, with her star power overseas, will get a little different treatment?
Oh, look, John Oliver was sort of pretty known for highly sort of tongue-in-cheek appearances. And again, there are plenty of occasions where he had a bit of a crack at me. I mean, if you can't laugh when you're Prime Minister and you take all these things seriously, then you're in a lot of trouble. Because I think in the end, these late night shows, they are always going to showcase stories that are a bit different or a bit wacky or whatever it might be. Did it hurt Stephen Joyce or me or Bill? I don't think so. And, I'm sure they'll give Jacinda a great run, but I don't think it'll do any damage. It'll be positive, and I think positive for New Zealand. And as I said, it's the sort of thing where a huge number of people might just whet their appetite to come to New Zealand or learn a bit more about the country.
So what's your advice to Jacinda Ardern as she struts the world stage over there?
Well, the UN week's a really big week, and there's great opportunities for us, and it's that time we get to mix with a lot of leaders, not necessarily the ones that we traditionally do, but a lot of other countries as well. I was there when Gaddafi gave speeches. I was there when a huge number of other leaders have given very controversial speeches, and they were both informative at times, sometimes rants, but they were what they were, and the world's a better place for at least having that role, I think, in that place.
Hey, could we just finish with one other question on another topic?
Yep.
I don't know whether you heard Jacinda Ardern's comments this morning. I think she was being interviewed on News Talk ZB and conflated GDP with the State of the Crown accounts. What did you make of that interview and her confusion?
Well, when I heard it, I just thought that wouldn't be right, because I just knew when I was Prime Minister, you don't get the official information like that from the government statistician prior to its public release, and that's because those things can be market moving. So the reality is you don't get that information, and I kind of realised just from where I was that it was almost certainly an error. doesn't matter whether it's unemployment data or GDP data, you don't get that information. You get certainly often a sense of where things are going. And the Treasury and the Reserve Bank will have a perspective, but official government stats, no minister gets that. I think the Minister of Finance maybe a moment or two beforehand, but certainly as Prime Minister, I only got that information when it was publicly released.
There's reports that the dollar has moved since the comments. So do you think the Prime Minister should be more careful in future?
Oh, well, I'll leave her to reflect on that. I'm no longer in politics, so not for me to really comment.
Former Prime Minister John Key.